Move on to item number. Did it catch the first part?
It didn't catch the start, but now. You're left now, you're
Okay.
recording.
All right, so we called the meeting to order at 9:03 and we will proceed to item number 2, adoption of the agenda. As is customary, Councillor Naka.
I've got nothing to add this morning.
I have nothing to add this morning.
So I don't have anything to add either.
Nothing to add. Okay, I have one item to add to the closed session, non-compliance property. And I'd also like to change the order of the closed session. I'd like non-compliance to be, actually, we may have another item added, so I'll ask administration if they have any additions.
Yes, Mr. Reed, we have a correspondence item called the mature assets letter that went from you to the minister. We have an item to add to business. Was requested by you within time frames to add items to the agenda, so we'll make that 7 lots. 11, stockpiling, and we have closed session item named top yield. Absolutely.
That's it for administration. Okay, so then I'd just like to change the order of the closed session items. 12.1 would be the non-compliance. 12.2 would be top yield, and 12.3 would be the employment matter. All right. There's no other additions. I will entertain a motion to accept the agenda as amended.
I move that the Lamont County Council adopt the February 11th, 2024 regular council meeting agenda as amended.
Any questions or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Yeah, in favor.
Thank you. Motion's carried 5-0. Council has a copy of the January 25th, 2025 minutes. Any errors or omissions noted? If not, I will entertain a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
I move that the Lamont County Council adopt the January 28th, 2025 regular council meeting minutes as presented.
Any questions or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Yeah, in favor.
Carried 0. We don't have any public hearings today, so we'll move on to item number 5, delegations. And we have one delegation this morning. It's Ben Friesen regarding a fire billing. Mr. Friesen, if you could take the table in front here. We're gonna put you in the spotlight here. I'm not sure if you know the counselors around the table, maybe we'll just introduce ourselves.
I'm Aaron Wick, I'm counselor for Division 2, which is just from Lamont South and to Beaver County and east to Range Road 173. So,
And I'm Deborah Lane, Councilor Division 1, and that's the Mandera area.
Well, I'm the counselor Division 4. I'll give you 4.
And David E. Duke, counselor for Division 3, which covers the St. Michael area. So,
Yeah, that Neil latest Division 5 Lamont, Riverheim North against County of Strathcona.
okay, so essentially with our delegations, Ben, we allow up to 15 minutes, whatever you take for your presentation regarding the fire building, and then after that, councilors may have some questions for you that we may want answers for. So, start.
I'm just wondering, why didn't the fire chief make sure that the fire was moved after it started?
You might have to speak up a little bit, Ben.
I'm wondering why the fire chief didn't check it, or after the fire had started. We had burned the brush piles, end of March sometime. On April 13th, the fire had started again. The fire chief was out there. And he did phone me yet. The fire had stopped by itself again. And then about a couple weeks after is when it started again. That's when it burned the big area.
I guess did you have a fire permit? No fire permit. So why did somebody come out there to check the fire?
Because it had started again.
Did they advise you that you were in non-compliance of not having the fire permit?
Yes. He asked me to get a permit yet. Which was about 2 weeks after we had run the files. I went into the Lamont County yet to try and look it up. And it was past the date already that a guy can even burn brush piles. So I wasn't sure how I can get a permit yet. I just left it.
So just for clarity, the original fire was started in March.
I don't have the exact date. When, in the end of March sometime, that is when I had burned the brush piles. April 13th, it had started again. And burned a little area and it stopped again by itself. But the fire chief had noticed it somehow. I don't know if somebody called him or drove by or what, I'm not sure.
I think just for clarity, it wasn't fire chief, I think it was basically chief commander.
It
So
was Marty, then.
Marty, whatever his title is, I think he's the district deputy chief or whatever. I'm not sure what the structure is now.
Yeah, and I believe we got our fire permits off on March 31st. So then you attempting to get a fire permit after the end of March, they weren't issued anymore, so.
Yes, he told me to get a fire permit, yes, still April 13th.
So how many brush piles were involved here? And
I'm not sure, probably. It was just small piles, they're probably like 4 maybe. Piles, not windows. Right, just small piles. They're not big piles.
so then the fire chief was out there. The fire seems to be under control. So what led to the fire? This had to be a pretty massive fire looking at the amount of charges on your bill here.
Yes, on April 28th, I believe, when it started again. Yes, it was a big fire then.
So that would be just about a month after the chief was there.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
The chief was there April 13th.
Okay.
That's when April 13th in the evening is when you phoned me.
In your mind, what caused the fire to reignite?
spots in the first pile. I had no experience, I never thought of, that there would be anything like a month after again, yeah. That's why I was just wondering why the fire chief, he was there after it had started already the second time. Didn't check that. Or Marty, whatever he was.
That's a question I can't answer. I guess the file was a little somewhat complicated in that there was no fire permit taken out. I know that we do have policy that if a fire permit is taken out, that the files are monitored to ensure that the fire is out there, right? So why there was follow-up, I don't have an answer for you. Yeah.
Right, I know, I didn't have a permit, but then it said it had started and that he was there. And so then after that, he knew about it. I know that I didn't have a permit.
I guess the question is, what is your ask of council today?
Well, I would like to at least have it reduced. I could pay 10,000.
Fire occurred in 2023, right?
Bill was sent to me a whole year later, I'm not sure why that was.
Are you still receiving bills monthly with interest?
So was it just your property involved in this fire or did it spread to the neighbors?
It's about 2 for neighbors.
So any other questions for Mr. Friesen? So it spread to your neighbors. Does he have a concern or claim against you?
Neighbors?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I repaired everything that I think I repaired more fences and stuff that were burnt than. It was fences that there was like nothing left and I replaced some of those fences. I think the only guy that's, what's his name again, the guy with the sheep there? No,
No, with sheep, south of his place, southeast of here.
I'm here. I understand he complained and he wanted everything back the way it was. Some of the fire breaks, he wanted them leveled off. I was in there. I spent a lot more time in there. then I shut off really. Anybody want that backfilled? Instead, he wanted me other stuff to do. So I was in there for, with a dozer for over a day.
Are you new to the area, Bill? Did you just move to the area?
I don't live there. I just
You
have,
don't live there?
no, it's just pasture land.
Yeah, what quarters, 2 quarters?
I'm just a quarter now.
It's been over to the rest of council, if you look on the bill for Two Hills Mutual Aid, and for the helicopters, you'll see 10 plus 10%. So I didn't know what that was, so I talked to our emergency services chief, and it's right in our fees and charges schedule. Any third party costs we add on 10%, so that's the reason for the 10%. It's in our fees and schedules.
I thought it was 10% interest.
Yeah, well, I thought maybe that's what it was too, but that's what I had.
Did you anything you'd like to see the bill reduced to? You say 10,000?
10,000 possible.
We could get as low as 10,000. We have a bill from or from Two Hills and the helicopters. The bill to us is still $16,000. So
It would do 10,000 plus the third party bills. But I would like to see that 10% taken off.
Anything else you want to add?
So,
Any other questions council has? Really?
Just for the rest of council here. If you look on page 18. You look at the third from the bottom, an ATV, we charge out at $150 an hour.
Yeah, I see that.
And if you take a look on. County of Two Hills charges $150 for a pump.
those numbers seem to be a very big difference.
We're 3 times higher than the county of Two Hills on our charges there.
That's what questions I have here.
Just as a backdrop, the council passed those fees, Councilor Renata.
Well, I realize that. But, you know, when we're given that, you know, we hope that it's something else like when we compare costs or wages with the neighboring municipalities.
That's what he's presented to us, I guess, that's.
We're not here
Yeah, no,
to
that's right.
deal with Mr. Friesen's request,
Right.
so. All right, well, I think what we should do is, accept Mr. Friesen's delegation as information. And then probably pass a resolution requesting the administration to bring back an RFP to council. So that we can make a decision regarding the request.
Yeah, cause I got questions about the way the events unfolded too. Things that we weren't told about. You know, we were enlightened about the situation, so I do believe he's got legitimate concerns.
Well, yes.
You're prepared to hold those concerns in abeyance till we have a RFP.
Yeah, but I think, we need some more information.
All right, anything else to add? Yeah.
So,
All right, we'll let you on the hot seat there.
all right, thank you.
You got your chair warmed up for the next person. Probably Corey.
No, it'd be dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so there are two motions that I guess we're looking for. Is number one is to accept the delegation as information.
I'll make that motion. Make a motion that Lamont County Council accept presentation from Ben Friesen regarding the fire building as information.
Questions or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Yeah, in
Neil?
favor, yes.
It's carried 5-0. And the second resolution is that I guess Lamont County Council Direct Administration, you got her on the board there. I think I have to go see my first again. Okay, somebody want to put that resolution on the board?
We got the Lamont County Council Direct Administration to prepare the report for the fire building to Ben Friesen, 2004. Oh, that's the number 24367. Alberta Limited. Invoice 815 dated April 18, 2024 for the future council meeting. Okay. Watch, it'll make those a little bit bigger on the board meeting. Oh, shit.
All right, any questions or concerns regarding that motion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
In favor. In
Carried
favor.
5-0. Okay, do you have any bylaws that we're dealing with this morning? However, we're gonna move on to item number 7.1, business. And it's the Town of Lamont ICF. Peter?
Thank you, Mr. Reed. We are on page 27, where we are seeking council's approval to extend the intermunicipal collaboration framework agreement to 2027 in accordance with provincial ministerial order. Is Irving can fill in any blanks?
Yes, so we have been bringing forward the intermunicipal collaboration frameworks to council for extension on the recommendation of the government of Alberta to allow for some changes to legislation that are supposed to be released this year that will then guide our future update of our intermunicipal collaboration framework. So in the interim, they've requested that we extend them. We have brought 410 so far in January, and we are on to number 11, being the town of Lamont. This one is also straightforward. It only changes the dates for the framework and does not change any other information within. And so this would be extending the agreement from 2025 to 2027 Once this one is complete, should council approve it, we would only have one left being Scotia County, which would be brought forward in March when they're going to their council meeting.
Okay, council have any questions for Ms. Serving?
Yeah, I got a quick question. So next year, we are gonna be negotiating the emergency service plan. Does that, like, not only impact the agreement now, like, this is till 2027, so
Yeah, so
even if we change the agreement, it's still.
that's right. So there are provisions within, within each intermunicipal collaboration framework. So as we approach, both of that, agreement as well as I believe recreation is coming up in the next 12 years. There will be, if it isn't already clear in here that that it allows for amendments, then we would have to come back and amend it at that time as well. So we would review it at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, the other question I have is, if you look on page 3 of 8 of the agreement. Under recreation. Says that Lamont County provides a yearly grant. Lamont County acknowledges the agreement expires December 31st, 2021. And will need to be renegotiated. Do we have to change those dates if we're just extending the agreement?
No, no,
No.
it's all fine, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they would, why they would reference the date in there to begin with, right? Like,
Yeah.
this should have been more in general terms, I think, that we
Yeah.
have a recreation agreement.
That's right, and so really the purpose of the intermunicipal collaboration frameworks is to make sure that we have an accounting of all the agreements. And that we do check in with them regularly, and so we have been doing that. And so at this point, we're just extending it, we'll go back to the table on the individual agreements. And then we'll wrap it all up in probably in 2027, once we have the new legislation, we'll come forward with a more fulsome update that would include all of those new dates and agreements and whatnot.
Okay. Any other questions? Not, I will entertain the motions.
I move that Lamont County Council direct administration to finalize an agreement amending the intermunicipal collaboration framework agreement with the town of Lamont to extend the term of the agreement from 2025 to 2027.
Okay. Any questions or concerns? Seeing none, all in favor?
In favor.
Thank you. Carried 5-0. We'll move on to item 7.2, 2025 Reeves Annual Charity Golf Tournament.
Thank you, Mr. Reed. This is a report that generally comes annually. We're bringing it earlier so that we can incorporate the council's chosen charity for the Reeves Annual Charity Golf Tournament earlier in the process to encourage sponsorship and participation. Over to you, Deborah and Shane.
Okay, good morning. So on this perhaps coldest week of the year and coolest time of the year, it seems fitting to talk about something a little warmer, and that's the Reeves Annual Golf Tournament. We had a very successful tournament, as you'll recall, last year in 2024 with over $32,000 raised for charity for the County of Lamont Food Bank and the Christmas Hamper Program. We had a number of sponsorships, kind of a record amount of golfers, 144 last year. And so we're here before you so we can commence the planning process, including those sponsorship levels for 2025. At this time, we're looking for a decision and a discussion around the annual charity. We have consulted with Family and Community Services, and it's recommended that the Lamont County Food Bank once again be the charity of choice, as they're looking to a number of different programs, including potential future building, as well as their Christmas Hamper Program be the charity of choice for this year. We'd be looking to involve them a little bit more, perhaps in the tournament. We're going to be discussing with them, working some of the ticket sales and things that we have at the tournament as an option with that group this year to help us out at the tournament. coupled with having our family and community services staff assist economic development the day of the tournament as well. So we are recommending August the 21st, but it's really important to know for those listening and for members of the media that that's just the proposed date. We would also look at an alternate date. And we suggest August the 28th as an alternate, but August the 14th could be another alternate. Because we do need to work with the golf course to make sure everything's good in terms of availability. So Thursday, August the 24th, which is consistent, or 21st, which is consistent with the third Thursday of the month, which we've done in the past. So we are looking for your direction on that. We may need a slight tweak to the motion to have a second backup date as well. We've allocated about $25,000 in expenses in our operating budget and anticipated 52,000 in revenues, perhaps a little bit better than that in 2025. We will once again invite our suppliers. Now that was really important to council last time, as well as our businesses within not only our portion of the Rivers Industrial Heartland, but in the Lamont County in general, as well as the public to participate in the tournament. Happy to answer any questions or take any comments that you have for this year. Oh, we will be having a Ukrainian dinner as well afterwards this year. Very important at the end.
You know what they were gonna ask.
You're gonna ask that.
We read it.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a couple golfers that were very disappointed there was no policy there, so.
Yeah.
We don't have to be shy, Mr. Reed, we don't.
Anyway, council, is there any questions for Shane or Deborah?
Did you check with the golf?
No, as stated in the report, we thought we'd come to you first and then we'll have a conversation with them, hence the need for a backup.
Yeah.
28th is kind of late.
Yeah.
28th is that Thursday before the long weekend, so you could make the 14th the alternate if you'd like. Up to you.
That'd go 14th or 21st.
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably include either the 14th or 21st in the motion.
Yeah, so
First one they're asking for, so
20th.
14th would be the alternate.
right.
Okay.
And what about the charity? Is council okay with the food bank again?
Yeah, I would think so.
Just to give a little bit of background, there is a building committee for the food bank. I think one of their objectives is to build a new building for themselves. I believe right now they're operating out of the Alliance Church, so they are trying to move that project ahead. So I think that it's a good support. It's a charity, I think, so. Any other questions? And I think, yes, it's the coldest week of the year, but I think the more of a head start we get, the better the end result is gonna be. So, yeah, we may have started a little late last year, if I recall.
Yeah, we started more around the April period, so
Yeah.
this gets us in further ahead this time.
For sure.
Even when you guys started late, you guys did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
Okay, if there's no other questions, and there's a couple recommended motions here. I guess the only one we have to kind of amend is that first one, showing August 14th as the alternative date.
Make a motion on the Lamont County Council Direct Administration to organize the 2025 Reeves Annual Charity Golf Tournament for August 21st, 2025. Or August 14th, 2025 as alternate date based on golf course availability.
All right. Any questions or concerns? Further debate? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Yeah, in favor.
Okay, it's carried by 0.
I'll make that next motion.
Okay,
The Lamont County Council authorized that proceeds go to the County of Lamont Food Bank for the purpose of the building fund and Christmas hamper program.
All right, thank you, Counselor Whitus. Any questions, concerns, debate? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Yeah.
Carried 5-0.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Okay, we'll move on to 7.3, road naming request.
Terry, this one is on page 42, and it got to be quite straightforward. It was 2 weeks ago, council approved the revised policy 5118 road naming to bring clarity to the proportion of occupied residential properties along the stretch of roadway that needed to be in support of this. Given that, our friends in Public Works and Ms. Benoit have put together a package for you. Darby, if there's anything that I've overlooked or Christiane, please advise. So if approved, the stretch of Range Road 200 from Highway 49 to north of Highway 45 will be renamed to Lamont Road.
Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with the request. I do want to commend Emily and Ashley, though. I think this is the next presentation that they put together here in support of having this road renamed after the Ropushinskis here. So the work there. Neil, this is in your division. Any comments?
Yeah, there's two homesteads that along that section of road. And the family owns 6/4 of land between not just that family, but the Lopushinskis from the great grandfather's side. So it's that section of road has a lot of history for them.
And from reading the materials, I understand that the farm has been passed on to another generation.
Yeah, the homestead quarter is now Emily's and their dad Dean. And their dad is still alive. He's in the 90s, so it's good to see it happen while he's still around. And he used to be a Division 5 counselor, and it was the Reeve of the county at one time.
Council, have any further concerns or questions? Thank you, Neil.
I want somebody else to read that motion though, because I could never pronounce Emily's last name.
Okay, I'll put that one on the books. Okay, I'll make a motion that Lamont County Council approve the road naming request from Emily Sakavitz and Ashley Lopushinsky to rename the designated stretch from Range Road 200 to from Range Road 200 to Highway 29 North. Let me
From
back up.
Highway 20.
From Range Road 200 from Highway 29 North to Highway 45 to Lopushinsky Road.
No, it should say Range Road 200 from Highway 29 to Highway 45. We're renaming 200. So there's one word there needs to be changed. We're doing Range Road 200 is the one getting renamed. And then it's from Highway 29 to Highway 45.
So if I think we changed the word from to of Range Road 200.
Correct.
Using me when I was reading the motion. Sorry. Okay. You want me to reread the motion for clarity here? Sure, I just want to say the name again. That Lamont County Council approves the road naming request from Emily Tkaiwitz and Ashley Lopushinsky to rename the designated stretch of Range Road 200 from Highway 29 North to Highway 45 to Lopushinsky Road. Any questions or concerns? Further debate? Seeing none, all in favor?
In favor?
It's carried 5-0. Item 7.4, we get to put Corey in the hot seat. Award of four-wheel drive pickup.
Yeah, 68. This is matter that was debated and deliberated in November and approved in the budget in December, so in accordance with your procurement policy, staff agrees for your approval.
So as Peter did say, on December 10th, budget deliberations, council did approve $80,000 for the purchase of a new four-wheel drive half-ton pickup truck. This is to replace unit of 1161. We posted a tender on EPC and we received 4 submissions upon closing. A summary of the submissions are on the following page. We reviewed and scored the tenders based off the following criteria of basic equipment as specified, special provisions, price, past service provided, and past and present resale market value of the truck and their options. Any questions regarding the submissions?
Any questions? If you look at the
Which
extended
unit is
warranty,
it replacing? Sorry, I didn't, which unit is it replacing?
1161, which is the Ford F-250 that the supervisor is currently driving.
So we get rid of that truck or what are we doing?
No, we're moving that down to the employees because it's a 3/4 ton and supervisor does not need to drive a 3/4 ton round. That's can be better utilized with the employees.
So I notice we got a lot of pickups around there now.
if you look at the extended warranty, proponent B has 5 years, 120,000 kilometers for 4,200. Proponent D has 5 years for 160,000 for $3,600. Looks like they scored pretty close, so right, they're within 2 points of each other.
Yeah, they're very close.
How much warranty just on the standard vehicle does that come?
Now, standard warranty is 3 years of 60,000 kilometers.
Got their build these trucks to last longer and they're fighting the warranties up.
Except the one, except we bought from.
Is this one a regular crew cab or is it, what, is it a regular crew cab?
The four-wheel.
Sorry, it is a, not the one with the small doors, is it?
No, they're the bigger doors.
Yeah. Do you recall, Corey, when this item was presented as part of the budget, we didn't allow for a trade-in, did we? Any other questions? Very good. Sounds ready to go with the recommendation. Right?
Yep. I moved that Lamont County Council direct administration to purchase one four-wheel drive half-ton pickup from proponent B for a total price of $62,950, which includes an extended warranty package.
Any questions or concerns? Debate?
Just one question, this is for sure is a regular crew cab with big doors, right? Cause we got that one new one, nobody can fit in the back seat.
I don't have the tenders in front of me, but I can verify that. From my understanding, they are the big doors.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a standard cab has the small doors and the crew cab has regular size.
I believe it is the crew cab, and I can verify that for council.
Cause the last batch, we bought one truck and it's nobody can fit in the back seat.
Council wanted to further vote on this, so Corey can verify that.
Maybe just verify it.
I don't have the tender in front of me, so I can't say with 100% certainty.
Mr. Reed, we could move on, and perhaps, yeah, we can call somebody back at the office.
The thing is, we need Corey for the next one here. So
We'll come back into.
that's okay. Christiana?
Sure.
Okay.
Should Rodney call candidates, or who should be?
Probably Jeremy would be able to check the tenders there.
We'll get Rodney to call Jeremy.
All right, so temporarily, in order to ensure that it's four-door and not a crew cab, we'll have Rodney verify that. So we will move on to item 7.5, which is contract gravel hauling rates. Peter?
Well, Mr. Reed, this matter came up a couple weeks ago. And staff were asked to bring forward a report addressing what our relevant rates were. They compared. Now it doesn't work in the background. Carrying us to Smith Lake and Midland County, which are kind of the two closest geographically counties. There is a draft on page 73 that Mr. Lamont can take us through. So once you get the highlights from the report, then we'll go through the graph. And then we have a handout that directly shows if council is interested in varied rates, we have a graph that shows what we may consider.
So administration did reach out to our neighboring municipalities, Indian County, Smoky Lake County. They provide us with their. For sure.
Projection you're going.
Okay, for sure. I'll speak up a little. So we did reach out to 4 different municipalities, Minburn County, Smoky Lake County, Beaver County, as well as Two Hills County. Smoky County and Minburn County did provide us with their gravel haul contract rates. Beaver County does not contract their gravel hauling. They haul internally instead, so they weren't able to provide us any information there. And we're still following up with the County of Two Hills, as the rates they provided us didn't really make sense, so we're just following up to verify. As detailed in the chart below, Smoky Lake and Minburn County have variable hauling rates based on the current fuel rate, both of which are based on a ton mile hauled. Smoky Lake County base rate is 18 cents per ton mile at a fuel rate of 71 cents to 85 cents per liter, and the hauling rate increases by 1 cent for every 5 cents increase in fuel over 85 cents per liter. The hauling rate is capped at 34 cents per ton mile at the fuel rate of $1.61 to $1.75 per liter. Smoky Lake County also has a loading factor of 64 cents per ton. Minburn's base rate is 42 cents per ton mile at a fuel rate of $1.01 to $1.10 per liter, and the hauling rate increases by 1 cent for every 10 cent increase of fuel over $1.10. Minburn County also have a loading factor of 95 cents per ton, but that is only for haul distances less than 10 miles. As a comparison, Lamont County has a base rate of about 0.126 cents per ton kilometer at a fuel rate of 91 cents to $1 per liter, and the hauling rate increases by 0.00525 cents for every 10-cent increase in fuel. Lamont County's loading factor is 0.642 cents per ton. For council's consideration, an increase in 1 cent per ton mile is equivalent to 62 cents per ton kilometer. Or 0.062 cents per ton kilometer. When comparing the haul rates of Smoky Lake and Minburn counties to ton kilometer, Lamont County's gravel hauling rates are significantly less. But Lamont County's haul rate is close to Smoky Lake's haul rate at 90 cents to $1.15 fuel rate. Smoky Lake's hauling rate significantly increases as the fuel rate increases, up to 30% at $1.61 a liter. In comparison to Minburn County's haul rate is nearly double Lamont County's at $1.01 to $1.10 per liter, and reduces slightly to an 80% increase of Lamont County's at $1.81 to $1.90 per liter. In 2022, council maintained the base rate, but extended the hauling rate to factor in fuel increases for up to $2 per liter. So if we look on the following page at the next chart. Here, is it the original chart that they have, or is it the? Anyway, we did get Neil to see this.
Sure, I can email you.
Neil Peter's gonna email you a copy
Yep.
of the handout.
Can you do it to my Gmail so I can keep the meeting on and look at it? I'm scared I'll lose the meeting. My nrwhitus@gmail. I don't want to lose the meeting on the computer.
Little confusion here for you, because we're doing our rates as per kilometer and the other.
Yeah, so what we did for the charts here, we did convert it to ton kilometer so that it be apples to apples comparison.
On this chart.
Correct.
Okay, so if we converted the 0.00525 cents for every 10-cent increase in the fuel rate, what would that be per mile? Would that be right around a penny a mile? I'm looking at page 72.
We converted everything to kilometers. Council, what is, have you received it?
Just trying to get them here right now. Yeah, I got it here.
So in essence, what we did is we developed some scenarios. We recognize that our current, at the high end, our rates are low. And at the low end, our rates are either equal or somewhat high. So if it was council's desire to adjust the current rate per ton kilometer, we provided some scenarios here. We're only comparing against Smoky Lake because Minburn County was just so different than ours. They're clearly using a different approach to dealing with their contract others. So if the 10% increase was applied, you'll see where it becomes where we're high and where our rate becomes low. Similarly, 15, 20, and 25. We stay high a little longer and then low. One of the things that we can't ignore is that we recently done an RFP and have attracted 15 truckers. So it would seem that the opportunity is still attractive. However, we thought it'd be valuable to respond to these numbers.
Okay, so
The other thing we have, well, just another comment I want to make here is Smoky Lake increases their rate, essentially 1 cent a mile for every 5 cent increase in the fuel price. We increase ours 1 cent for every 10 cent increase in the fuel price. So they're basically, if there's a 10 cent increase in the fuel price, they're Smoky Lake's getting 2 cents. Our guys are only getting 1 cent, which is partially skewing the figures here. The other thing we have to bear in mind here is the budget for 2025 is set. So if we do give just using 10%, and I'm not too sure, Rodney, what we budgeted for gravel, say it's $500,000. If you increase the trucking rates 10%, we're gonna need an extra $50,000 from somewhere to offset that cost, right?
Probably 8.
So it's something we have to bear in mind, like. I think an increase is warranted, but. It's just we have to bear in mind that if we're gonna do it, we're gonna have to find money somewhere to offset it, right? Now, we do have an RFP coming up later in the meeting in regarding to stockpiling, which potentially maybe could save us the money. I'm not too sure. I haven't seen that RFP. But yeah, just putting that out there. And I think the other thing is our truckers have not had an increase in rates since 2016. Worry.
It's definitely before my time.
Before you. Good answer.
I think it was.
Yeah. And I think it's prudent for council to look at the increase because the cost of the truck has gone up, the cost of the box has gone up, cost of operating has gone up, the cost of repairs and maintenance has gone up, the cost of insurance has gone up. So I guess that's why the item is on the agenda. Neil, you're gonna have a comment?
Yeah, just, I gotta think about it again.
How's that?
They haven't had, I lost my train of thought for a second. They didn't really get a increase in rates in I can't remember when. It was always just the fuel price when the fuel went up. That's the only thing, from when I hauled gravel. That's a long time ago till now. There hasn't been an increase in the rate. Except for the fuel prices.
I thought it was 2012, somewhere there.
Yeah.
And it was minor increase.
Well, because they were after that time more of the fuel.
And I did bring it up 2 years ago at budget time, and the reply was, we're paying an attractive rate because people are coming here to work. That was the problem. We didn't adjust. We didn't do anything. This service when this sort of went off the insurance that they have to carry that led us down this trail, eh? So that would have been should have been a column there, insurance required. Page.
Well, we know ourselves, the price of a truck we bought was 300. Just what is it, 340 grand, and then the trailers are 150 or 140,000 now, so. They went up more than 10%, so 10% would at least help a little bit.
Council have an increase figure in mind? I trust you're leaning towards 10%, Councillor Whitus.
Yeah, my internet was stuttering here a little bit, but yes, mine, everything went up 50% more, and with 10%, I think we'll earn it back on stockpiling.
10%.
I would too, I know with our funding operation would.
Yeah, it's just like blowing an engine and,
Yeah.
you know. And like I say, I'm sure it's 2012, something like that. That's the last time it was adjusted. But ever since then, it just been fuel.
Fuel.
Well, it's fuel adjustment.
Yeah.
So when would this come into play then? Would it be this year or would we see for next year?
I'm thinking this year.
I think retroactive to the stockpiling start.
Corey will have good news for the contract haulers. If the motion's passed. So Rodney, how do we deal with the? Or do we just leave the budget amount as it is for now, and then if we go over, we have a reason for it, or?
Either way can be dealt with. We could increase the budget with the spring adjustments by $80,000 to offset this increase in there. So I don't think it's worthy of a motion, a budget amendment motion at this point, but maybe the motion can say to include an increase in the spring adjustments for increased gravel costs.
True.
Yeah, we can say we have a living fund that will.
Yeah.
So
You have to transfer from a reserve, whatever.
Give it the 10% and take it out of the.
We don't need to decide where it's.
Well,
Yeah.
No.
Okay, so we're gonna have to change this motion a little bit.
So I don't know that we need an RFP. I think you could just simply direct us to affect the 10% increase to the gravel hauling contract.
Yep.
Effective January.
First. Just want to commend administration for putting this together. Very helpful in seeing where the comparisons.
Only request I have. Can you use different colors? Cause there's gotta be different colors on here, I can't tell what them.
No, you're excused from voting.
Okay. There's gotta be a different, where's the, like where we're at, increase our highs and our lows, see that they're here, but is there?
Not there.
Okay.
Green is up from $1.11 to $1.15, Aaron.
Okay.
We're in the green. And we're in the red after that until $2.11 to $2.20. And then we go back into green.
Okay.
I believe if you look at for a little while, you're right.
Yeah. I don't see it at all.
Yes, you hit the first one, Mr.
Sorry.
Here's first resolution. That works for you.
Yeah. Deputy Reed.
Yeah, that Lamont County Council direct administration to increase the gravel haul rates by 10% effective January 1st, 2025.
Questions or concerns? Just clarification, Corey, have we used any contractors between January first and today?
No, we have not.
No, that's good, so we don't have to go back and reach out to them. Okay. Okay, any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Neil?
Yeah, in favor.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Corey.
And then the second one to have us bring forward a budget adjustment.
You want that one running?
Sorry?
You want,
The second resolution to have us bring forward a budget adjustment. Yes, I think that would be appropriate. Prior to setting mill rate, is that the? Prior to setting mill rate.
Corey, that wasn't so bad, not at all.
Where did we go?
good job.
We get the information doc on the previous item.
So we'll do that now. Well. after the- Should say that.
Yeah, I can make that motion that Lamont County Council direct administration to bring forward a budget adjustment, including the increase of 10% gravel haul rates. Sorry,
Perhaps if it said addressing the increase of 10%. Instead of including. That worked better, Mr. Lee.
yeah, Lamont County Council direct administration to bring forward a budget adjustment addressing the increase of 10% gravel haul rates before setting the tax rate. Any questions or concerns? Seeing none. All in favor? Neil?
Yeah, in favor.
Thank you.
I got a text here on the motion we made for 7-3. The daughter's name, somehow all the paperwork says Ashley. I got a different spelling, or first name is different to have it, to have the motion correct. All the paperwork I see is Ashley and Emily, but it's AINSLEY, and Ansley. Ansley is her real name. Pretty close spelling, but somehow,
Councilor Woods, you can fix that administratively. Thank you for pointing it out.
yeah, I'll spell it again. It's AINSLEY is the proper name for Ashley.
Thank you, Neil. Okay, we're gonna go back to item number 7.4, the award of the 4-wheel drive half-ton pickup truck.
So we have verified that it was 6-passenger crew cab, so basically big doors. Four.
Okay, good. We got one pickup there. The guy said nobody can fit in the back seat, so we don't need that. We're hiring good sized people, and we don't want them claustrophobic going to the job.
Okay, so I believe we did put the motion on the
Yeah,
table.
Roy
did. Okay, so any further questions or concerns on Roy's motion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Yeah, in favor.
Thank you. Scary. Okay, we'll move on to item 7.6, ATV, UTV replacement selection.
So, Mr. Reed, we continue to bring the results of tenders for rolling fleet in accordance with council's procurement policy. When we went out to tender for these, for this ATV, we learned a little something about the capacity of the equipment that we currently have. And we have a pretty favorable recommendation here in terms of ability to replace not only one ATV, but a second ATV, well within the budget. Go ahead. Chief, you want.
Yes, sir. Yeah, so after council's approval of the replacement of unit 5313, the total replacement of the UTV and the firefighting skid, we were looking for a firefighting skid with patient transport capabilities, which we currently have, that would meet the vehicle specifications and recommendations for weight. We were unable to find a skid that would operate in the suggested UTVs. So the process we started to look at was to look at UTVs that would accept the weight of the loaded skids. And we found units. We found a unit that would be acceptable to use the existing skid. Then working with Public Works and using the gravel scale, we weighed out our other UTV and the skids and realized that that second unit was overloaded. Both of these UTVs came from donations. So one of them came from the Ag Society and another one came from one of the district's firefighter charitable association. So both of these units were donated, and I think in good faith of their use. Unfortunately, they are under capacity for our requirements. So the proposal before you would be to replace both the UTV units 5313 and 5314. Upgrading to a larger UTV with the capacity to haul both of the skids. Therefore, we would not need to replace the recommended skid in the original budget proposal from last fall. And as you can see on page 75 of the agenda, with the keeping the skid units, replacing both of the units, and trading the units in, we actually come in over $15,000 under budget, and replacing both of those units with the upgraded units capable of hauling the 1,500 pound, or capable of hauling 1,500 pounds in their utility boxes. So the proposal before you is from two different companies for the exact same model of units. One of the units from company B is already pre-outfitted with some accessories, driving the price up. And company A is more of a stock units with without the expensive accessories added on. So the proposal before you is company A to purchase 2 units for total pricing of $69,020, with the trade-in of both of our existing 5313 and 5314. The total cost would be $49,820. Company B, as you can see, the units are more expensive, over $10,000, and they had no trade-in. They had no requirements for our units on trade-in. So as you can see, there's quite a bit of difference between proposal or company A and company B. Happy to answer any questions from council.
That was from the Ag. So that's 5314, right?
5313, the Kubota.
That's a Kubota.
Correct.
Doesn't that Kubota have a payload of
1,000 on that one.
Really?
Yeah. So we looked at going to a Kubota with the capacity to haul 1,500 pounds, the price was significant.
What are these that you're replacing, whatever, is that the Kubota that had tracks on it that was in Bruderheim?
And the other one was from Andrew.
Correct.
Sorry, my internet stuttered for a second. Where that one there was in Bruderheim with the tracks on it, where's that machine now?
That machine is in Chipman.
Okay, are the tracks back on it or what happened to them?
That's not, no,
So where are the tracks?
at P-Dub. And the dealers have no desire for the tracks on trade-in, so we would look to sell them through our auction process, if this proposal was accepted.
So just for clarity, we budgeted for one unit at 65,000, right?
Yeah, one unit including the unit and skid. Yeah. Here with upgrading to the 1500s, we don't have a need to replace the skid.
Okay. So instead of one unit, we're getting 2 units for 49,000.
Correct.
This skids. We're buying new skids, right?
No, skids.
Skids are.
The skids are okay. We were looking, originally looked to replace unit 5313. We're looking at downgrading the skid. We cannot get a skid that will have both firefighting and patient transport capabilities under the required weight. So one skid right now is 1,030 pounds, and the other one is 1,092 pounds with no patient. In 2024, we did 4 patient removals using these UTVs. So they are a valuable asset for us, and that's why we did not want to downgrade those skids to one or the other.
Okay, council, any other questions? There is. Looks like a good deal. Okay.
Yeah, I don't have any questions.
Okay, if there's no other questions, I'll entertain a motion as recommended.
I move that Lamont County Council approves the purchase of 2 new utility task vehicles from Company A for a total cost of $49,820 after trade-in.
Any questions or concerns? Further debate? Seeing none, all in favor?
Yeah, in favor.
Thank you. 5-0 and motion passed.
Thank you.
Okay, we are gonna recess till 10:35. Councilor Whitus, are you back online?
Yeah, I'm back on, yep.
Okay, thank you. All right, we'll reconvene the February 11th, 2025 regular council meeting at 10:37 a.m. And we'll move on to item number 7.7. The approval of the business plan.
Thank you, Mr. Reed. For the past 3 business cycles, council has approved a rolled 3-year plan. Business plan is called a medium-term plan that's recommended by administration for endorsement by council that identifies the key change initiatives in response to council's strategic plan. It obviously has a rolling plan and builds upon the year previous, and that's why we somewhat regularly have a a resolution when council approves triannual reporting, that it be used in planning for subsequent cycles. So the business plan builds upon the governance, operational, and leadership transition that council effected through 2021, 22, and 23 to stabilize the organization. It starts moving into the subsequent phase of focused growth, and you may want to look at the diagram on page E2 of 124, which indicates that once we resource the organization, address things from a policy perspective, we start making investments into competitiveness and growth. The document is built around council's 6 strategic priorities. And is the overall policy direction of council. What it does, obviously, is where council has made specific budgetary decisions. It responds to those and proposes the activities that staff can reasonably undertake to move the yardsticks forward. I was hoping to have a business plan with fewer initiatives than in prior years. We kind of been at the 52 to 53 initiatives per year, and here we are again with 54 in 2025 to 27. Unfortunately, only 43 of them started in 2025. And as has been our practice, we're pegging our targeted implementation at 80%. And really that has to do with not knowing what may emerge during the year, as well as potentially the need to reprioritize during the year. And should that happen, it is possible that we would bring the business plan back to council to review. So much of what I've said is covered in the first few pages of the business plan. Obviously, on page 81, you'll see council's priority goals. Our effort is to respond to those. It's our understanding of council's expectations, and it's a commitment by administration of what we're prepared to be held accountable to. It's the best estimate of what may be achievable, and it'll be used as a measuring stick in terms of that reporting 3 times a year on how we're progressing. So starting on page 84, you see the goal of new business being partners of the growing community. You're seeing the water line application and design aspects figuring quite prominently in council's growth goal. You're also seeing some work around updating, reporting on and potentially upgrading offsite levy enhancements to our ARCDEP program over the years on page 85. And as is the case within the business plan for the year, I'm at this stage, by the middle of February, able to report on actionables for the various measures and indicators on page 86. Generally speaking, we're doing reasonably well. Unfortunately, our non-residential assessment mix is in a slow decline. That has more to do with the pace of depreciation of non-residential investments than it does growth in residential. So we started at 63.37 in 21, and in 2024 we ended the year at 59% and 41%. So that's an unfortunate dip, and that speaks to the importance of this goal in particular, where we can maintain an assessment mix that doesn't put undue pressure on residential taxpayers. You'll see that we're doing okay on permit numbers, permit values, and building permit numbers are actually not bad. If you look at goal number 2, this one has to do with the community feeling safe and being important good quality of life. Speaks in terms of delivering on a budget over time and establishing KPIs for departments. recruitment of staff who deliver service to residents. Obviously, fire services fits here as well. And then you've got the measures and indicators on page 88 relating to this second goal. You'll see that the 2024 actuals are not available for the Jan 1 to December 31, 2024. Expect to get those shortly. I hope to have those prior to the next meeting. Where we expect to have all three RCMP detachments here for a delegation. Goal number 3, accountability and transparency to the community. The business plan is an important, and the triannual reporting is an important element of transparency and accountability. We have recently learned that we need to implement new access to information act processes. So the province is replacing the FOIP Act, as I understand it, with an Access to Information Act. We will continue to undertake some electronic record management, which was approved as part of the budget. However, we will likely need to spread that over a 2-year period, given the direct untimely impact of 3.2. We anticipate a review of governance policies and service policies after the next election, to various degrees. And of course, we undertake transaction leases, and we're looking to potentially update the Municipal Planning Commission processes and bylaws. And we have one there called Enhanced Communication. So there's some things there. Oh, and we haven't done a check-in and compensation survey for a few years, so we have that as part of our works. Just saw an error to fix there. And then we have our measures and indicators here. Obviously, we've achieved unqualified clean financial audits for each of the past 4 years. So another error. We have some pretty strong results. One that I'm particularly happy with is the percent of approved corporate plan initiatives completed as planned, or about 96%. Our social media statistics are improving. However, we have lost some ability on our website analytics to track well. So the numbers in some cases have gone down. However, on the overall, the usage of our website has improved. We're still trying to work through how to make those numbers work for us. So you'll see in 2023, we had much higher page views and unique views. Much of that may have been to do with a particularly contentious item being the land use bylaw. Where we look at unique views, we are no longer able to as discreetly identify those unique views. So it's the same person looking at the same page 3 times versus a new person looking at it 3 times. We have some information there on public participation. Goal number 4, community assets achieve their maximum useful life and support. Obviously implementing the capital plan, defining that capital plan. Implementing a gravel pit strategy is something that council has directed. So we have some licenses that are in place that we're working. The intent is to mine and remediate for a couple of quarters in 25, a couple of quarters in 26, and then to contract crushing in 26, and potentially be able to use our own sources of gravel in 27, or supplement commercially acquired gravel with our own gravel in 2027. So these are things that council has directed through our budget deliberations. You'll see there the intersection dust abatement, as well as the development of a 5-year program to convert all of our haul routes to oil over a 5-year period, are reflected during the first couple or 3 quarters of 2025. That's an important decision that we'll be bringing to council prior to tax rate setting, as well as a shoulder pull program. I am not happy with the measures that we have for this goal. However, one that we have is, the fact that we've completed 93% of our capital plan. And only carried forward 2% of our capital budget. In terms of being leaders in sustainable growth, we've got, goal number 5, where we are going to likely be reviewing the strategic plan following the election. Implementing the funding strategy for heartland infrastructure. Council has asked us to bring back, following the election, in the 2026 budget planning, potential to do an agriculture master plan. Likely a tactical cleanup of the land use bylaw, where we have found a few things that may be inconsistent. And while we had initially thought we would need to acquire lands for a heartland rail corridor, we believe that this is something that can be done in dialogue with rail operators. And in terms of the measures, one of them that you heard me refer to before is that 92% of council decisions are consistent with the recommendation provided by staff. That means that we're hearing directionally where you'd like to go. And providing you a level of analysis perhaps gives you confidence in what's being recommended. Also, the strategy of first bringing things forward in committee as a whole setting, and then bringing it later for a decision is helping us hit the mark. Committed to sustainable relationships. Obviously, one of the big ones here is to promote and support the 2025 election. Undertake an orientation both locally and regionally. And we've recently received notification that a regional orientation that all elected councilors would participate in will be on October 29th and 30th. Pursue options for gravel acquisition as a potential. Revisit the intermunicipal recreation cost sharing agreement when it comes to term. Undertaking a scheduled review of ICF agreements once it would happen in 2027, now that they've all been extended to 2027. Implementing the annual regional emergency management work plan, receiving the fire services master plan, and implementing to the extent that that's something council wants to do. And as we do every year, targeted improvements to county health and safety program and procedures. Now, given that we scored 95% on health and safety, we're very focused on a couple of key areas. As far as the measures under goal 6, you'll see that our health and safety incidents reported has decreased significantly. You see some data here on mutual aid. One area is that utilization of personal leave has effectively stayed the same at 6.6 days per year. That's pretty strong performance for a municipality, 6.6 days per year. That's a half a day a month. Looking at options on how we might be able to improve that further. Staff turnover improved by 1%. Last year it was 23%. This year was 22%. And for information, we show voluntary versus involuntary departures. And I've already spoken to the OAS audit results. So at this point in time, this is an indication of our business plan, our works plan, and responsible to council's direction, some of which is specifically supported by budget, some of which is supported by directional policy. So as you know from the past 3 years, we report on progress to the business plan 3 times a year. The first triannual is typically second meeting in April, the first meeting in May. The second triannual is typically in September, if I'm not mistaken, and then the third triannual or final report is in the second meeting in January. And the triennial report also provides information on financial performance, health and safety performance, investments performance. You saw a preliminary view of our revenues from aggregate and clay. So again, this is sort of the backbone of our reporting, which of course is supplemented by reports from the departments bi-monthly, and during peak seasons, reports from our operating departments, whether it's PW or Ag Services. So there is one item that emerged in discussion yesterday. I guess the reading was diligently reviewing his agenda package on the weekend. And he believes that on page 84, initiative 1.1F should start in Q3, and he's absolutely correct. So I'll make that change.
In goal 378, are we only doing one per division for 2025?
There'll be one per division during the first 6 months of the year. Okay. We're gonna enter that awkward period starting July 1st, where people are gonna say, are you a candidate or are you a council?
Yeah, and that's what I was just clarifying. Yeah.
What number was that? What number is that, Aaron?
Page 89, 3.7A.
Thank you.
Now, I imagine the next council will decide whether this is something they want to continue or not.
Yeah, I just want,
Go ahead, Dave.
I just want to bring attention to item 4.3B. And basically, we're looking at our gravel pits and remediating the same. Now, our existing gravel contract expires in 2026. That's going to be the last year of our existing gravel contract. So we have that pit up north, I think, in the northeast corner there. That's Jablowski's pit. I'm not sure what the exact name is. But historically, I know going back to 2020, this thing was flooded with water. So I'm not sure what administration's plan is as far as remediating our pits. I know we talked about a Morelos pit where we try and reclaim what gravel is there, but I think moving forward and considering the expenses that may be incurred with the heartland and the potential for a water line and stuff there, I think we gotta start looking at areas to save money. And we have this pit up north, I believe, that somebody estimated there's about 800,000 tons of gravel up there. And I think that that's probably one of the pits that I would like to have council direct administration to give consideration to, is to get that pit into a position where we can start mining it. And then that's where we would be probably in 2026. We would probably have to engage a custom crusher and maybe use that particular pit as part of our gravel supply.
So, Mr. Reed, I fully expect that Mr. Dietz will bring forward a report that will identify which pits first, second, third in each of those periods. Some of that has to do with whether licensing is currently in effect or not. So, as with many of these items, you know, with 4.4A and 4.4B, you're going to see reports on that as well. So
My opinion on that pit is the gravel's not rotting, and all the other gravel pits are drying up in the county. The ones we have in the northeast part, I'm all in favor of mining those and graveling in that area and reclaiming the land and selling it. But that big reservoir in the north, we use it up, and then 20 years from now, or even sooner, probably 10 years from now, there'll be no other pockets of gravel, and we'll really be hooked. So I wouldn't get too excited about using up that 800,000 ton that quick. It's not rotting, it's owned by the county, it's not going nowhere.
The price, but the price of buying gravel now is getting to be outrageous. So maybe we need to save some money. Like Mr. Reeve said, on the water line, for putting the water line in, maybe we'd use some of our own gravel. We talked about, the other two gravel pits. Possibly we should be thinking of cleaning them up also. And selling the land off.
I'm in favor of cleaning up the pits in the northeast there, but that one in the north, you'll want to use it up. And then you'll have no reserves left. It's gonna be when they start railing it in, what bringing by rail or whatever else, and there's no other gravel pockets in the county. This stuff, it's like $1 once you spend it, it's gone. Once you haul that gravel out, it's gone. So we've got to think of the future for the county. It's gonna be here a long time.
So as I've indicated, Mr. Dietz will bring a report that will outline what he recommends to be first, second, and third based on things like licensing and location. And obviously councilors will have their opportunity to provide direction at that point if you have other insights that he doesn't have.
Good question.
But it sounds like this is the right initiative.
Yeah.
The right time.
Yeah.
Was there ever an engineering report in the gravel that's there?
Which one in the north?
Is,
Yes,
you know,
I think there was one,
that was before.
because they were taking some gravel out of there. So there has to be some kind of report in there, out of there.
Well, I mean, that would be a good place to start.
Yeah.
Bring that forward to council.
Yeah.
Like we're thinking there's 8 years or 10 years of supply and there's 2.
Because no, there was some gravel taken out of there.
Well, I realize that, but just.
Is that pit still saturated with water?
So it just north of 5
Yeah.
on 160.
Yeah.
There's still water in there. It is going down compared to when I first started. But there's still water in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Even when they were mining it, before they had to pump the water out, and then they bailed the gravel out. And then when the flood years came, it filled up more than normal, and it stayed full. When we were hauling out of there, they were always pumping water when they were crushing.
The only reason I bring this up is,
With the expiration of our gravel contract next year, you know, the council has to look at all alternatives that are gonna be available and just kind of want to be on side here. So yeah, if Darby can kind of bring that forward, that would be great. Any other comments on the business plan?
Yeah, page 95, 5A, page 95, 5A. That number seems pretty high. Eh?
Can you please repeat and slowly?
Page 95, 95, 5A.
You're referencing the number 92?
Referencing 5A on page 95.
Yep.
Percentage of council decisions consistent with staff recommendations.
Well, that's a tracking of what is. I guess what I could tell you is what this doesn't show, and if you want me to add it, I can, is the number of emergent motions. So of the 435 motions recommended, 93%, well, not 92, 93% were approved as recommended. There are also 106 emergent motions, things that were not included in the recommended agenda, but, you know, council has made resolutions that that are other than those that are reflected in the agenda. So as an example, today, item 7.5. Council made recommendations other than those that were in the report, and that's fine. So another way of looking at this is 18% of the resolutions are emergent, or those that either differ from what was recommended or are as a result of items added to the agenda. I'd be happy to add that to this tracking if you'd like to see it. In 2023, emergent motions were 17%. So that's somewhat consistent.
As a rule, we don't deviate very much, and that's what this 92% is showing, is from the motions that are recommended by administration, and even if you go through the morning's agenda, we're basically the recommended motions are being approved by council with, so it's fact-based, basically.
Well, I'd like to think it's desirable too. I mean, your administration is bringing forward recommendations that are meeting with your support, with your approval.
The other one, just clarification on this one. Page 97, 6D.
Yep.
So is that sick days, and that's per employee, right?
Well, it's personal leave, yes, and it's 6.6 days per employee. The majority of that would be sickness absences. Some of that would be someone going for a paramedical, like a physio appointment or a massage. I think you can take a couple of hours to meet with your lawyer if you need to. There is a limited scope of things that qualify for personal leave, and obviously those items are all part of the policy that was approved by council. But I'm liking the trend going from 8 to 6.3 and more or less staying the same at 6.6. I'd like to improve it. I'm always trying to improve. I mean, one of the areas that we've tried to influence with staff is when you don't need to take a 7-hour day or an 8-hour day to go to an 1.5-hour appointment, don't. Keep staff being productive. Obviously, if somebody's doctor is on the other side of Edmonton, well, it's going to take them a little longer.
One point that I'd like to add is, I think one of the things that's happened over the last few years is a trend towards, if you're legitimately sick, please don't come in. Whereas in the past, we used to have people who would come in ill and would then infect workplace. So trying to strike that balance of reducing that number, but still having an overall philosophy of, if you're legitimately ill, we'd rather not have you at work.
The other thing is that if you've got somebody who needs to get their car serviced, they're taking a couple hours vacation and then they're working from home. If it's more convenient for them to complete their day at home, rather than, having to burn the whole day. That's more of a vacation than a personal question.
Russ, maybe you can clarify. Are sick days and personal days one and the same?
We have a provision under personal days as a catch-all. You sometimes see the term flex days, personal days, sick days. Personal days include both illness and as well as a limited number of discretionary use days for people who need to do things during work hours that they wouldn't otherwise be able to do. So as Peter said, yeah, if you need to meet with your mortgage broker, meet with your lawyer, get appointment for appointment at school for your kids, those types of things, so we encourage people not to take longer photos than they need. So they can take percentages of a day.
And what's the allocation, 1.25 per month?
Let's go back and look, what is the total allocation? It's 15, so then they're accruing, yeah, 1.25 per month. Yes.
So 6.3 isn't bad. We could include sick days and stuff.
Exactly, yeah, it's all included.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions regarding the business plan? Somebody want to bring forward a motion to approve the business plan?
Make a motion that the Lamont County Council approve the Lamont County 2025 through 2027 business plan.
Questions or concerns? Dave? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Yeah.
Carried 5-0. We'll move on to item 7.8, ownership and tax payments.
So, Mr. Reed, this item was included in the last agenda as a correspondence item. And I asked also this if we receive this information, because we have a briefing note, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, we have a briefing note that provides further explanation on this matter. And Mr. Boyko is here to provide insights on that.
Thank you, Mr. Karnowski. So, and there is an additional handout that came in, just on Friday that was after the agenda package. So this particular item is a lot in, Whitford. And it has come to the attention of administration and as well as the ownership of the owners of this land that, this land was originally purchased back in 1947. And registered with land titles in 1947, as well as some changes in 1965, and that the person that was set up in the tax system back originally, is not the actual titled owner of the property. So you'll see that, Ms. Barb Lewat has, put in a letter requesting council to make some adjustments. So, and as well, there is a second letter that was just handed out. So I'll give council just a,
Councilor Wise, we're scanning that and sending it to you.
so the letter just gives a little bit more history on what some of the tax notices that have been received over the years. One of them is from 1971, as well as a current one. So the latest one is at the 2024 tax notice. So just for county council's reference, the information we have in our financial system only goes back to 2001. A number of years ago as well, there was a project in the records management that deleted a number of the records out of files and destroyed them. But you'll see that the payments from that we have 2001 up to 2010 are essentially $5 and under. At that particular point, council implemented a minimum tax. So you'll see from 2011 to 2018, it was in the $50 range. In 2018, that minimum tax was increased from $50 to $100. And ongoing, they're in the $100 range. So we have confirmed that with the information that we have, that for this roll number 0100110000, they were paid by the WeWags as they're making this request. So kind of some of that rationale of what's happening for the MGA. The landowner is deemed to have received a tax notice 7 days after it's sent. The purpose of that is to put the onus on the taxpayer to notify the municipality if there are any errors or delays in the land title processing. This particular item is from 20 years ago and has been continued on, so administration doesn't have any documentation as to what did happen at that time. There is one section that the MGA limits claims to anything that is made within 6 months of payment. So there is no MGA requirement that this should be refunded other than anything within 6 months. And on the issue of receiving payments, there's many instances where the person who pays for the taxes don't match the landowner. For instance, it could be a rental situation where the person renting the land is paying for the taxes directly. So there's not anything in the MGA or in our processes that tie who paid it to a particular parcel of land. So administration has given council a couple of options. So you'll see those on page 100. The options are, we could refund the 2024 payment. And then this would be, of course, start going to the arrears listing until the legal owner makes that payment, starts to make payments. Council could refund any other amount that the council deems appropriate. Or thirdly, council do nothing. The payment was made against the roll number that the resident provided at the time. This is an odd situation that we don't run into very often. So council can choose to take some action today, or we could bring it back with another RFD with any other additional information that council may want.
So who is the current landowner?
The current landowner is Nick Krawchuk.
Nick.
Krawchuk. That is the latest land title that was pulled.
He never paid taxes on it.
No, the taxes have always been paid, so there's been no need for administration to look any further into.
So was this Mrs. Weewood that was paid taxes?
Yes, as far back as the information that we have, yes. So,
From 1971, he's got the tax arrears here. When you notice that on your tax bills, it says right off the bat, lot 08 in block 02.
Like what, he wasn't paying taxes, right? Well, that's really, like, did he not own it or something? Like, that's where, wouldn't it be like due diligence kind of?
yes, so.
That's not mine, but I own it.
Exactly, and I think that maybe there was an assumption that because the tax notice said their name, that they owned it, but the land titles files do not show that. The land titles show a different.
On titles too.
Yes,
Like there's a road. 171. That's the field. Road, the county road, and it was taken out, supposed to be put back on the title to the rest of the quarter. But the change was never made in land tax,
Yes.
so. And I could live with this. But when we changed the minimum from 50 down to 100. I think you would refund that money. We probably didn't spend a nickel there. You know,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
So is there a minimum tax of $100 on each lot or 8 and 9?
For each lot. So this is in particular lot 8. That, that would, so.
So then lot 9 and 10 would be another $100 each.
Yeah.
Yes, and they've been paying those taxes. Yeah, the amount that we show paid over the last 20 years was $1,000. You'll see that on page 98, $1,000 anyway, $1,086.37. And essentially the bulk of that is the fact minimum tax. $100.
Talk about with the minimum tax. You know, some little.
We have the
government
same
here.
thing, yeah, I have that, yeah. My division.
You know, this was a minimum amount for 20 years. And. They don't hold it.
Well, that's why, like, we even have a couple options. Not really any of the options appeal to me. I would say, my opinion is refund her the money. But. You're gonna put it to listings and tax recovery. For something that the guy didn't even know, maybe he doesn't even know he owns it, that
Yeah.
the other fellow. So how do you go back to somebody that doesn't even, you know, maybe they made a handshake deal in the middle of a field somewhere and said, listen, you own that piece too, cause what am I gonna do with that little piece of property?
You actually can't go back.
No,
Yeah, we can.
cause that's it was our due diligence not to know, I guess, and.
But what do you do?
I think
I pay your money back, yeah, it's $1,000, we write off a lot different for a lot of reasons.
So is Mr. Crotchet deceased?
We know nothing about this.
No, well, she's referencing in her, the handout today that. This man that is on the title of this lot from 1947 has deceased.
Well, and the thing is, that's why it never came up as taxes unpaid. The neighbor was covered.
I think she's talking about her father who's
So,
deceased.
you know, her father deceased in
86.
you know, she's saying the man that is on this title of this lot from 1947 has deceased, you know. On that title you have there, Rodney, what years does it show ownership to Mr. Crotchik?
From 1947.
Yeah, so that's.
So, also, Nick, on this, hey, it's only $1,000, what if it was 10,000? Because the same situation could keep on going on, but merging.
Discretionary use, we'll review it at the time.
I'd say there's gotta be some fault in the person paid the taxes. Maybe we look at reducing half.
If you look at it. Yes, yeah, when we implemented that minimum $100 is when. when it started,
Well, at first it was minimum of 50 and then it's 100.
yeah, so, and then, but I mean, if they've been paying the tax on this thing since 19. Well, the last paper we have here is 71. I mean. July 15th, 1971. This bill is 4 years older than I am, so I mean, maybe we should just consider cutting our loss and.
Want to keep some cuts, keep everything, but take all the $50 and $100 charges off.
Penalty is not counting. You're saying don't charge the 50 minimum on the 100 minimum.
Yeah.
Only charge the
Yeah,
penalty.
the $4 or whatever. Charge that and all the extra minimums that we accumulated over the years, we found that.
That does put some accountability on the resident. We're never telling.
Well, I think we have to reverse 2024 because it's brought to our attention.
Yes.
And we're gonna have to get this into a process where we can claim it back for non-payment of taxes, but if we reverse this, and technically the taxes are not paid back to 19 whatever, right?
Yeah.
So can we put it up for auction next year?
No,
We never build the
yeah,
actual owner.
yeah, the calendar starts today, so.
Especially when the decisions made is when they count, when.
Yeah. So the recovery is a 3-year process.
Well, when you look at the assessment sheet, like this property is worth next to nothing. It's assessed at $70. Hey, what does council want to do? Put the motion on the table and we can vote on it. Councilor Whitus, you got an opinion?
I'm just sitting here thinking about it, so. I don't know what to say yet. When we put that $100 minimum on there, all of a sudden everything is racking up pretty quick for these little. Little lots that had $12 or $13 taxes, all of a sudden it's gone nuts for the poor people.
They refund the full amount to save on the paperwork. Yeah.
Councilor Knapp is making a motion to refund the full amount. $1,086.37.
Pulling up to just refund the amount of that. Move the refund.
The Lamont County Council refund the amount of $1,086.37 to Miss Barb Leewood for the tax payments of 1739 02.8.
Just a point of clarification, whose name is the property under now?
That's the Nick project.
No.
People that will take taxes.
Oh, it's,
On 8 and 9.
On 9 and 10,
LCW one.
so then we should be refunding the LCV one,
Yes, sorry, that's correct.
not to Barb Weaver.
Yeah,
She's the daughter that. put
She's
this in.
the mother should get the money back.
Yes.
Okay, that friendly amendment?
Yep.
All right, any further questions or concerns regarding Councilor Naka's motion? Debate? Seeing none, all in favor?
In favor.
Carried 5-0. Okay, moving on to item 7.9, updated organization chart.
Mr. Reeve, being provided information item. These changes that resulted, coming out of the 2025 operating budget are reflecting the work start. So providing this for your review.
Yes, this org chart shows all the fully funded positions. From on the. This, Mr. Garland, are here for any questions that council may have?
So it's fully funded positions, not embargoed.
That's true. So, I can quickly walk through what the embargo positions are. On page 107, would be the alleged services officer, executive assistant. Previously it was 2 positions. We've held one of them. On page 108, the HR advisor position is being held. That's currently under contract. On page 109, the capital project supervisor bridge position is held.
Is what,
And
sorry? That one's what,
the
sorry?
Capital projects bridge supervisor position on page 29 is held. And on page 110, the development engineer position is held. Yes, that,
Utility supervisor.
yes.
think that. For safety.
Sure. If you go to, page 108, under the human resources manager contract, which will be me, you have the health and safety advisor. It's identified as 0.5. That same individual then is on, page, 109. And is identified as the, utility operator, which is also 0.5.
Okay, probably going back to 2017 when I was first elected to council. And over the subsequent 7 years since, a common complaint of the ratepayers was that you're overstaffed. And I think initially in 2017 and 18, there was a concern about the staffing levels in the administration building here. And as per comments from ratepayers personally, comments from the general public, comments at the coffee talks at St. Michael, Andrew, and last week in Bruderheim, there seems to be a question as to the number one, the number of people working at Public Works. And secondly, the efficiency of the people at Public Works. And as was brought up at the Bruderheim Coffee Talks last week, one of the concerns was, well, you have a contract operator that takes 2 or 3 days to put a culvert in, whereas it takes your forces over a week. There was another comment regarding the number of people in Public Works compared to historically. And this comment was from a former, I believe he was a foreman for the county.
Yeah.
The number of people that are there now and what's getting accomplished versus what he had to work with in his day and what was getting accomplished. So
That guy ran the whole public works department, by the way, and it had road construction and gravel hauling and culverts and everything under one guy.
I don't know if he was a government, I know he was construction.
So he was running, when I was there hauling gravel, the one time he ran the gravel, he ran the culverts, he ran the grader, everything. Cause we had a little trouble with some of the guys, 2 brothers from Mundare, I'm not gonna mention their name, with the gravel haul, and he gave him a couple days off. He was for about 5 years, he ran the whole works. And then he had Gerald under him after.
So anyway, what I would like to do here is put forward a motion. And I think I'll let Christiane put the motion on the board. And council can consider and debate it. I would like to direct administration to do a review of the operations of Public Works and try and determine how efficient and effective our Public Works Department is. And particular areas that I would like, this would have to be a part of the terms of reference, but what does it cost us to do a culvert installation versus what does it cost to contract or the installer to do it? I think I would like to know what it costs to operate a grader for a year. And that's got to be all inclusive because you got to build in there your cost of your grader. And who knows, with 25% tariff coming on steel, are we going to be paying 50% more for that grader if we get taxed on the steel that goes to the States to make it, and then it's coming back here and we get another 25% on the finished product? There's the time value of your money. If you got to spend $650,000 on a grader and you can invest your money in bank, that's a return of $32,500. Our operating costs, like it just, at some point, we have to be able to provide an answer to the ratepayers as to, yes, we are adequately staffed and we're doing things well, or no, we're not adequately staffed and doing, not doing all the things we should. So I really don't know what the terms of reference would be. If council's on board, I would certainly entertain their feedback as to what they would like looked at. But I think it's something that we should do.
I want to add to that too, is, drainage crew used to let their seasonal go. We got how many, we still got all the seasonal, and drainage is gonna start again, so we didn't even let them go, and rumor had it too, we're there for, to do a bathroom that's 90 days, the bathroom's not done. Like, we're getting it from every direction. People see, they closed the road, it's, closed for 7, Ridge Road 200 is closed for 3.5 weeks to put 2 culverts side by side, so. I'm getting the same thing you're getting, Dave, from everybody on how much staff we got everywhere. It's unreal.
The other, thank you, Neil. The other aspect is the, I know we're slanting towards our own truckers hauling out the gravel. But is that cost efficient when you consider that buying a truck tractor and the box to go with it's $400,000? And then you got your labor and all your operating costs that go with it. So it's not something I don't think we can do internally. I think this would have to be done externally. The unfortunate part is it's the same as giving the gravel hauler the 10% increase. This particular item hasn't been budgeted for. So it would be in addition to what we're budgeting for already.
So are we doing like public works as a whole?
Yes.
Because I mean, we've overlooked our mechanical situation. It also is. How much do we spend on contracted services compared to how many mechanics do we actually, shows here we have 4, but I think if you go in there at a given time, we have a couple that are off on medical leave or whatever else. Our contracted services were used and utilized just about as much as our in-house mechanics were. So how effective was that department being run? Or is it looking to be contracted out?
No, it would be the whole entire, because I have a concern with that too. Like how many work orders are mechanics processing? And how difficult are these work orders when I look at one of our local mechanic shop here doing the majority of the heavy equipment repairs and stuff. So we seem to be farming a lot of the bigger stuff out.
Or back to factory, or back to the dealers is where a lot of it went back to. So.
Yeah.
Overall maintenance too of the equipment by the employees, like some of the stuff we fixed.
Couldn't be our employees fixing it.
No.
They're taking trucks into Edmonton to Peterbilt for $360 an hour. When we got a local mechanic shop here, there's 2 of them now, one towards Yates that are at I think 140 or whatever they are an hour, 130. Half the price, and they're right in town.
So anyway, there is a motion on the board here. Maybe just make it a little bigger, Christina. So is this something council would be in favor of?
Wow. So who does the review?
Well, I think it would be up to administration to do up an RFP, I guess, Rodney, like you'd have to do a refer for proposal.
I think that would be appropriate, yes.
Now, is there a firm out there that does this? For us, are you aware of anybody that would?
There would be firms that specialize in these types of things or have people who have done.
Yes, because you have to have outside review too.
Yes, I think it says external. Review.
Hire Wayne that was at the meeting in Bruderheim. He'd tell you exactly where we got too much and where we should cut, so.
Well, obviously, this council would be lucky if the review is done by the end of the year, but it would certainly provide the next council coming in with directions, or hopefully it would be here in time for budget for 2026, right? At which time you'd have a clear understanding. It's been a persistent issue for the last 7 years that I've been on council, and yeah, that's kind of number one complaint. And you're gonna have your coffee talks in Shipman next week, Aaron, and I'm sure the question will come up.
Good. I already got questions emailed to me. I was gonna show you guys later. People are asking for an external audit on the whole place. Everybody feels we have too many people in the Brown building here, they call it. Like last palace, I guess is what they call it. I mean, do you do it on one department or do you do a whole? Depends, I guess, whoever brings them up, right? Whoever does the audits, I guess, or whatever you call it, external reviews.
It'll be up to council to define the terms of reference. How do you want to go?
I think what you're going to find is that, as I said, there are people who would specialize in individual departments. Going more broadly than that, you're gonna end up with more of a generalized assessment because you're not gonna have people who are experts in each individual operational area.
So your recommendation would be
Keep it
Public
focused.
Works?
I would, based on my experience, the recommendation would be take it in bite-sized chunks, take a look at one organizational unit that's of interest, and if you find the process effective, repeat it with the next department or the next organization, in subsequent years. Or even a specific operational area within it, depending on the size and scope that you want to look at and how big a piece you want to bite off for budget and timeline.
The whole works needs overlook. The Brown building and Public Works, everything needs an overlook. We're really top heavy and we're really heavy, period.
I just think you gotta start somewhere, and I really don't get that many complaints about people in the admin building. I do get a lot of complaints about the people at Public Works and the processes that are being utilized in Public Works. So to me, that's where I want to start this thing. I think we got to be cognizant of dollars here. I'm not too sure what something like this would cost us. 50, 75,000, I have no idea. And like you say, it's not a budgeted item at this point, so. But we do need terms of reference, which we want to add a workshop for.
Are those bathrooms done in the shop already? Because it's middle of February, but it's been going on since November. Is it finally done, or are they still working there?
That's their complaint.
Yeah, that dumply, so. Yeah. Yeah, but which part, like.
Well, you got the Public Works Department.
Yeah.
Right now is where his proposal is, so if you start, that's where we're starting to start there.
That's our most costly part. Okay, I'll put the motion on the table. That Lamont County Council directs administration to conduct an external review on the Public Works Department to ensure the department is operating effectively and efficiently.
Mr. Reed, for your consideration. We've just approved a pretty aggressive business plan for 2025 to 2027. Depending on whether this is bigger than a bread box or not. It may be something that we need to bring forward as an amendment to look at what needs to be removed. This will have a significant impact on Mr. Dietz and on his staff as far as providing information. Notwithstanding that the analysis will be done by a third party. But that's just for information.
In 251 days, there'll be analysis done. That's election day, so it'll get done by then. So we don't get on this right away and start getting a grip on it. We're all going to be in trouble.
Okay, any comments on the motion? The motion makes sense to administration.
Yep, we understand that it will likely require a workshop with council and then development of an RFP.
Okay. Great, if there's no further questions, so I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Yes, in favor.
It's carried 5-0. Okay, are there any other questions on the organization chart?
Mr. Reed, would you receive the org chart as information?
Yes, we will. Glad that there's no further questions. Okay, if there's no other questions, I will accept the motion to receive the org chart as information.
Great. I move that the Lamont County Council accept the report on the updated organizational chart 2025 as information.
All those in favor? Neil?
Yeah, in favor. Yeah.
Great. Move on to item number 10, stockpiling. Sorry, follow-up action.
So, Mr. Reed, we are on page 115. The follow action list starts on 116. You'll see that many of our initiatives are, your directives rather, are complete or in progress. I think we might be bringing number 6, the enroll policy, to the next meeting and next meeting May of the whole. So, on upcoming items, please use the reference.
Hurry, have the new graders arrived? Not yet. You know, are they in transit?
They were delivered between January 23rd and 29th. And then they needed a few weeks to put everything together, so they were expected second or third week, so I'll follow up with Fanny later this afternoon.
Delivered, but then
They'll be free on board in 1
Could you just speak up a little bit, please? Because that microphone's up there. I didn't catch that part. Please.
The graders are supposed to be delivered either this week or next week. I'm gonna be following up with my contact at Finning after this meeting, but I'm expecting next week that they will be delivered to Lamont.
Okay, thank you.
What transpired at that tax sale, nobody showed up?
Nobody showed up, so the properties will be turned over to Lamont County's name, so that'll be coming forward in a future brief.
Have an updated list of how many pieces of property the county actually owns now?
We do, we can bring that forward for council's review.
Yeah, just even reviewing like our last, seven, yeah, with 7, whatever, 0.8. Like we have 3 lots right in Whitford that the county owns that.
There's a list somewhere. I think we got a pretty good list, maybe 2 to 3 years ago.
Yeah, we did
Several pages, all the
Yeah.
farms listed.
2 years ago.
Yeah, yeah, we had that, and. Oh, like I just wondered. I gotta use this one, it shows us as a picture of owning this piece of property, but that property line was right halfway through the middle of this guy's house and his garage, so. Wondered what exactly we don't own and where legalities would be. Maybe we should start seeing about getting rid of some of these lots and vacant lots so that we're not that neighbor that's not taking care of their property.
Hey, my question is, the county owns them, do we gotta pay requisition to the dump and the senior housing and the schools, even the county owns them, do we have to pay all that?
They become non-assessable when the county takes them over.
So we don't pay the requisitions?
We do not.
Any other questions regarding the action list? If not, I will make a motion that Lamont County Council accept the February 11th, 2025 follow-up action item report as information. Any questions or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor?
In favor,
Neil?
in favor.
5-0. Okay, we have a delegation coming to join us for lunch at 12 o'clock here, so we will adjourn the meeting at 11:56 and reconvene at 1 o'clock. Great. Welcome back to the February 11th, 2025 regular council meeting. We will reconvene at 1:34. Sorry about the delay here. However, we will proceed to the next item on the agenda, which is 7.11. Stockpiling.
Mr. Reed, this item was added to the section 24 of the procedural bylaw. Resulting from a question originally asked.
Sorry to interrupt, but please speak up. We can't hear you back here.
I'm sorry, I'll try again. This item was added to the agenda in accordance with Article 124. Prior to the publishing of the agenda, based on a question originally posed by Councilor Anaka, having to do what our plan was for stockpiling of gravel. There was a direction from council to undertake stockpiling of gravel while the roads are frozen and moving it to locations more or less where we could easily access it for the purposes of the graveling program this year. Mr. Poulin is here to take you through a map that shows the proposed stockpiling locations as well as some other related information. Go ahead, Corey.
So earlier this year, I did meet with the grader operators. They did provide 29 miles each of roads to be gravelled within their respected area. We have provided this on the map, and that kind of gives us an idea of how many tones will require for each area. Again, this map still has to be approved by council. We will be bringing that to a following meeting here, but this is just for kind of numbers. So first off, we can see north of the Andrew area, section 1, we're going to be hauling out of the CLH pit right off of Range Road 165. So for that, we're looking at keeping 13,000 tons of gravel within that stockpile so that we can allocate it to the number of miles that need to be gravelled north of Highway 45. With that being said, there's no backhauling with this. It's straight down to High Grade Road 580 and then across. And with the other roads, they can just take either the closest route there, but there is no backhauling. For our Daniluk pit, we're planning on stockpiling 20,000 tons there for our gravel program, with an additional 3,000 tons for other programs, whether it be drainage or dust abatement or patching. So that's going to be right out of Daniluk pit, just to the west of Andrew. And with that, you can kind of see where I have number 2 boxed off. That stockpile is going to be allocated to all those miles within number 2. And again, within that, there's going to be no backhauling. That is all going to be straight to the road with no backhaul. Location number 3 will be at St. Michael. We're planning on stockpiling 3,000 tons there for the gravel haul, with an additional 10,000 tons for other activities, other programs. With the St. Michael, the only backhaul that I see would be Township Road 552 and around Range Road 180 to 182 there. There's a potential 2-mile backhaul for there. Out of Mundare, we're planning on stockpiling 11,000 tons for the gravel program, with an additional 10,000 tons for stockpile and other programs. So you guys can see the boundaries where we're going to be graveling out of there. Again, no backhauling out of Mundare. And then same with Lamont, we're planning on stockpiling 10,000 tons for the gravel program based off the roads provided, with an additional 5,000 tons for other programs, for a total of 20,000 tons. So to keep in mind, Lamont, Mundare, and St. Michael are our biggest stockpile yards, so with Lamont and Mundare being our number 2 biggest stockpile yards. So that's where predominantly we want our larger stockpiles. With respect to backhauling, there was an idea brought up to contact a local resident who had land just adjacent to Highway 29. So we did talk with that resident. They were stating that they're looking for $1,000 per acre per month for the lease. And for a gravel stockpile, we'd be looking at renting 3 acres per month. So annually, it would turn out to $36,000. So what we did is administration looked at our current fuel rate, and with the 10-kilometer backhaul. So with us backhauling 10 kilometers at the current fuel rate, we could potentially do 552 loads. So we have 8 loads per mile of gravel road that we typically do. So that works out to 69 miles of road that we can backhaul 10 kilometers for. So that means each mile we can send 8 trucks there, and we can do that 69 times for the price it is to rent that piece of land annually.
I'd like to rent some land out to you.
For clarification. How do we get the stockpile into and out of Andrew at Daniluk's pit?
At Daniluk pit, that will be through 165, and checking on 165 there, there's, from my understanding, there's no residents on that road. Correct?
The 165, that's oil based, isn't it? Right?
That's oil based. But that was either 165 or 170 out of Andrew that we would be coming to the nearest highway.
Well, 165 gives you your direct access pretty close to right to the pit, right?
Yeah, that's close to thing.
But like I say, probably the first half mile from 45 to the road going into hell is oiled, I think, all the way. And I'm not sure if we did that oil or the village did that oil.
We did that.
So winter probably no issue.
Mhm.
Springtime could be issue during the gravel haul.
All the route, we both said.
Yeah, so we can look at the alternate route. We stop that.
We ordered
That,
it.
that down look good, even in the summer is gonna be, that oil road will never handle, to take the gravel out of there.
Yeah, so then, yeah, so we could utilize Route 170 and go up to the nearest pavement there, so it'd be very short haul on gravel.
Or we could go south down 165 from the pit. And then
East to the highway.
use the highway.
So within 6 miles, we're going north a mile.
And this off of Highway 45, where Schultz Andrew doing it, but could we not just do that straight out of the pit also, Corey? If you look at Range Road 181 going west,
Yeah, that one could potentially be brought out of the pit as well.
yeah, we call those right to the end there on Range Road 205, I guess. Anyway,
So we could potentially look at being it is straight access to the highway from there. We could do from 181, like you said, to 205. We could have that allocated out of the pit as well. So we just have to make sure we keep extra stock in there and it'd be less trucking costs incurred.
I think this is feasible. I thought maybe the stockpile person would charge us $3,000 a year, not $3,000 a month.
That was the initial thought.
3,000 a year would be somewhat feasible, right?
Exactly.
Who's 3,000 a month? To rent?
Yeah,
That's the rent. Put a stockpile along Highway 29.
No, it's for a whole year. $1,000 an acre for a whole year. It's not a month. On Highway
Right.
29.
did you talk to him?
There's 3 of us that sat with him.
Are you where are you talking on Highway 29?
173.
It's $1,000 an acre for the whole year.
Lori indicates 3 of them sat with the individual and it was $3,000 a month.
And he would not negotiate on
Can you say louder?
it. And he would not negotiate on the $3,000 for the 3 acres per month.
Irregardless, I think this is pretty.
Minimal if any back home.
Yeah.
Well, that blows it to heck. I thought we'd save money to pay for the increased 10% to the truckers.
We try and be as efficient as we can with the gravel.
Now, seeing as how we're on the gravel haul. Did we decide if we were gonna water in front of personal residencies, or is that not part of our policy? No.
Let's keep ranking better than.
Okay, is this council okay with this?
Sure.
Yeah, information.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Corey.
You're welcome.
We'll make a motion that the Lamont County Council accept the stockpiling information as, or stockpiling as information.
Questions or concerns? Seeing none, all in
Oh, just a
favor?
minute, just a minute. What are we gonna do at Danilux, the concerns? So how's that gonna come out in the summer? I know you were saying to go. Is that road gonna handle all those loads? Roy, you know that area.
170.
We may
Roy,
just
that
take
road,
it-
those roads gonna be able to handle the gravel coming out of Danilux in the summer?
It's gonna be going down 170, so it's not gonna be an oil section, so it will, the road should hold it.
And that'll be
No.
coming.
No bridges or nothing on there, Roy? Did you know of those little bridges?
There was a culvert replaced, I don't know, 2 years ago, they replaced.
Yeah,
that.
the big culvert that's there,
Yeah.
that's it.
I mean, some of it might be soft, but I mean, it's not oiled. I
But
don't
again,
know,
with that many trucks going over top of it, if we start to get a soft spot or anything, we top that with gravel. And the road is gonna be a very hard road after this year's program. Typically tax everything anyways.
is there any material in Danilux pit that is the original, like with the clay from that pit? Is there a stockpile with any material in it?
If it is, it's a very small stockpile. And I think we have a little bit left in there. And I think we have some of that we brought back from, the Wells truck pit as well, because the Wells truck pit also had a bit of clay in there.
Is that crushed or is that 50?
Oh, I'm just trying to. No, sorry, I misspoke on the Wells truck, that is the Daniluk gravel that we still have, we do have a bit of that left.
Yeah, and looking at this map there, there's even the opportunity to take it from Mandera a little bit to the north. If it's a couple mile backhaul, it's not a big deal, right?
Exactly.
Where it's gonna be the most efficient.
Okay, so there's a motion on the books. Any further questions or concerns? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye.
Yeah, in favor.
Okay. Carried 5-0. Okay, we'll move on to item number 8, committee of the whole. There is no committee of the whole.
That's correct.
Directors reports, there is no directors reports, committee reports. Councilor Naka.
I don't have anything to report. But the Beaver Hills initiative tomorrow. I did the Canada Reynolds, Mirth, Richards, Farmer, municipal law seminar with Councillor Wick. Some sessions that I attended was behind closed doors, advocating closed in-camera meetings. It was an hour's worth of information.
Yeah.
Good information, something to think about. And then another one that we attended was effective strategies for conducting workplace investigations. Yeah, that was interesting, got some good information from Albert, his co-presenter. And that should be, then what was the other one? Advanced enforcement. Making MGA work orders work for your municipality. And there's another law seminar coming up this Thursday at Brown Lee at Expo Center. That's it for me.
You read?
No, nothing for me.
Aaron?
I attended the same, RMRF seminar. some of the information was more directed to administration, but it was good to see what investigations or processes administration goes through to handle situations. And I have the other one on Thursday also with Brownlee. That's it.
Okay, the only thing I have is my coffee talks, 46 people, 46 ratepayers showed up. And had pretty good questions. I've been getting lots of texts and emails and calls with more questions. I'll present them to council at the next meeting in person. But I got a whole list. The list is growing on concerns and stuff for people that couldn't make it. The only downside is they started curling Bondsville the same day. Otherwise, probably would have had another 30 people from the north. Anyways, we'll present them, and that's about it for now.
And from my perspective, I attended an Alberta Industrial Heartland Association workshop on Friday. And Peter attended with me. There is the other 5 member municipalities and their CAOs, and it was just a workshop to review our strategic plan for the most part. Basically, we talked about the purpose of AIHA going forward. We talked whether we wanted to expand the membership or not. We talked about the funding arrangement that exists now and possibly what we could look at down the road here. Also, the future direction of the association. Do we stick with petrochemical or do we make it a little more broad-based? E.g. Lamont County has a lot of land that's not developed. It's greenfield land, so somebody can come in here and decide whatever they wanna set up here. Overall, I'm not sure we walked out of that meeting overly comfortable with what we accomplished. I think the general consensus was to kind of stay with the status quo where we're at, although the executive director is gonna look at the funding agreements and the future direction. We made it a point of indicating that Lamont County is open to greenfield development, and maybe part of our strategic plan should reflect that. So I guess at the end of the day, as with any other workshop and stuff, there are positives that come out of it, but I'm not too sure if the overall purpose was achieved here, but good meeting overall. And that is about it for me. Any questions or comments? If not, I'll make a motion that we accept the committee reports as information.
I have made a long resolution. Is that too for you?
I keep forgetting that you're gonna do that. I think it's an excellent idea.
And Barb.
I'll let either Councilor Wick or Councilor Barlow do this. Okay.
Yeah, we make a motion the Lamont County Council accept the community reports from Councilor Roy Anaka and Councilor Aaron Wick on the RMRF Municipal Law Seminar, Councilor Neil White's report on a coffee talk meeting, and Dave Duke's report on the Alberta Industrial Heartland Association meeting as information.
Any questions or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried. In favor, Neil?
Yeah, in favor.
Neil?
The internet
Thank you.
stumbled here. In favor.
Okay. All right, we'll move on to item number 11, correspondence.
Thank you, Mr. Reed. We have a dozen correspondence items, including one that was added. First one is a notification from the RCMP detachment commander in Port Saskatchewan, asking whether council is interested in meeting with the hierarchy of the RCMP in Alberta at the Rural Municipal Alberta Spring Conference, as well as asking to identify any topics that we would like to discuss. We understand from offline conversation that councilors would like to ask some questions and make some suggestions about any action dealing with the Two Hills detachment. Are there any other items, assuming that you do want to meet with the RCMP hierarchy?
I think the Two Hills detachment would be the primary concern. I noticed, the premier has wrote a letter, I believe, to Ottawa regarding them addressing rural crime. If they don't do anything, looks like the province may be looking at taking something over here, so maybe that's something else we could ask you the premier's position.
Great.
And if she's talked to them at all.
Yep. I imagine there may be some things that emerge out of the delegations and 2 weeks with the 2 detachments.
Great.
Very good. The next item, apologies, is a public engagement document that came to us from Staff Sergeant Henry from the Two Hills Detachment. It's an online public consultation. We've printed out copies of the key questions for you between page 125 and 127. We can sure that you can either search on the place to speak, or perhaps what we should is have is Benoit send to you the email version of this so that councilors can respond. Next, we have the RMA history update, page 128, 9, 30, 31. During discussions that RMA has had, whether it was a few weeks ago with the RMA meeting or over lunch today. If councilors are registered at the spring convention, and hotel rooms are booked, unless please advise if you are not planning to attend. And you'll also see on page 131 there are some additional opportunities to undertake elected officials education programs. On page 133, there is a notification from our area MLA with regards to a police transition study, which is coming up on March 1st, 2025. Might be interesting to hear whether councilors have strong support for this. I know that the Reeve and I will likely be attending a CEO, CAO meeting with the Lamont County region with the mayors and CAOs of the towns and villages, and at least one mayor within the region has indicated he believes that we should consider undertaking this. My interpretation is that while a grant might be available, it is not a matter of us as Lamont County being able to spend the dollars that we contribute to the RCMP in a different way. This would be in addition to our current policing commitments to province. And we have the current, which is the Battle River Watershed Alliance newsletter. And the one that we're adding today, and there's been one we'll hand it out, is simply a copy for councilors of the Government of Alberta's Mature Asset Strategy and Viability Letter that Relieve signed and sent to Minister McGovern, Minister of Municipal Affairs on January 24th. Which really seems to be favoring potential tax reduction for the already benefiting oil and gas producers in the province who claim that while they're because their oil and gas wells are mature, they should be paying less tax. This is the letter that council directed the read. So in terms of action, I believe council will be for me to ensure that we schedule a meeting for you at the RMA convention. And I believe the only other one, this one probably doesn't need a specific resolution, is we will send you the email with the public consultation link.
Okay, thank you, Peter. I trust we want to meet with the RCT and RMA. Okay, so we'll need a motion to direct administration to arrange the meeting and include a couple of the topics that we discussed. The second one from Sergeant Henry, I think if you want to undertake that one, survey, I believe. We'll leave it up to you individually there. As far as the RMA, I thought we had an excellent meeting this afternoon. I found the meeting to be very informal with excellent two-way dialogue. And it was interesting to note that they represent the RMA, but a lot of the issues that we're suffering, they're suffering individually on their municipal level. So that part was good. Regarding 11.4, there is a mayor that wants to see if something along this line is possible. However, as Peter has indicated, if we decided to do this and AG hire an extra RCMP or whatever, that would be added costs on our part over and above what we're giving to the police funding model. So I'm not sure if we have any appetite for that. And that's about it. So any questions or concerns?
So for us to hire RCMP ourselves, are they not having issues trying to get recruits for RCMP work for the federal government for RCMP as it is? How would we be able to get an extra one for ourselves?
Yeah.
Astute observation. Typically, municipalities like ours might contract with the RCMP through something called a supplemental something, can't remember exactly the names of it. In essence, you might buy 4 days a month if you wanted to expand capacity on Saturdays, and then it's likely that the local detachments would do a call out to neighboring detachments and within the local detachments for people who want to address this on an overtime basis. I do not think that this is a matter of us buying and paying for an additional member coming out of RCMP depot. Because like you say, they've all got empty spots, so that's as good an answer as I can provide.
How much do we pay how much do we pay this year for the policing that, I think last year was 200 some grand, was it? What is it this year? that extra policing we gotta pay for?
I believe, don't quote me on this, but I think it's right around the $311,000.
Yeah, I can provide some specifics. 2023 was 211,000. 2024 was 305,000. At this point, we've budgeted 305,000 for 2025.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, that's two officers, correct?
And it's probably gonna be higher than 305. All right, we want to make a motion for administration to arrange a meeting with the RCMP at the spring convention.
The Lamont County Council directs administration to request a meeting with RCMP commanding officer Rob Hill at the May Spring Convention discussing the following topics. Previous position on rural crime and Two Hills detachment.
Any questions or concerns? If not, I'll call for the vote. Those in favor? Neil?
Yeah, in favor, in favor.
Carried 5-0. And I think the balance just accept as information.
I move that Lamont County Council accept all correspondence as information.
Questions or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Yeah, in favor.
Carried 5-0. Okay, it looks like our calendar is missing for this.
We only
Provide the calendar once a month, sorry, my fault. All right, that concludes the open portion of our meeting. So I will now entertain a motion that Lamont County Council move into closed session. I can do that one. The Lamont County Council moved the February 11th, 2025 regular council meeting into a closed meeting at 2:08 PM to discuss the following items. Employment matter, Boy Pack, section 19(1). Non-compliance. Do you have the foot?
Non-compliant is 17(1).
Point section 17(1). And the top yield matter.
21. 20, in bracket one. Section 20, thank you.
Okay. Top yield is section 20 under the Point Act. Any questions or concerns? Seeing none, those in favor? Neil? Neil's good.
Thank you.
Neil, are you in favor? Yes, it's carried for 0.
Goes to the base or
Yeah.
All right, welcome back to the February 11th, 2025 regular council meeting. Time is 4:14. Coming out of closed session, we have 3 resolutions to deal with. The first one is regarding the non-compliance matter. So we want to put the motion on the table.
Would the Lamont County Council accept the non-compliance property item as information?
Any questions or concerns? Seeing none, all in favor? It's carried for 0. Dealing with Copieux.
Yeah, I move that Lamont County Council direct administration to continue with the enforcement matter as discussed in closed session.
Any questions or concerns? Seeing none, all in favor?
Make a motion that Lamont County Council direct the Reeve to proceed with the employment matter as discussed in closed session.
Questions or concerns? Seeing none, all in favor? It's carried 4-0. And the meeting is adjourned at 4:16.